BJ Mafia, what's poppin'? So today is February 1st, 2023. We are exactly 365 days or 1 year removed from Tom Brady retiring from the game of football before deciding to come back this season with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And like I said, today is February 1st, 2023, and the greatest quarterback, the greatest football player, one of the greatest athletes, and one of the greatest competitors to have ever played any sport out there is officially retired from the game of football. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. will now be enjoying life outside of football, outside of a locker room, outside of having a sense of team camaraderie and competitive fight and spirit. He's a single father, and now he looks forward to what life is after football, and I'm sure he can't even fathom that realm of what life is after football. I have to talk about this because while I'm not an NFL content creator, I do make Jaguars content and I do make NBA content. This is the greatest athlete in my eyes in American sports history. I believe his resume is untouched. I believe that Tom will go down as the greatest American athlete to have ever lived, even when it's all said and done. And this is extremely heart and gut wrenching for me to talk about because I never idolized Tom Brady, never once in my life. I'm 21 years of age. I grew up with a deep love and root and passion for the sport of football and sports in general. And to see the work ethic and to see the level of competitive fire and also the talent and the skill set and the leadership qualities, everything that Tom Brady possesses is something that you can't teach. It's something he has worked his ass off his entire career, from his days in high school to get to Michigan, to winning the starting job in New England and creating the greatest dynasty in the NFL history. And the reality is kind of just set in, but it's not gonna hit until we get to training camp, until we get to OTAs, until we get to mini camp, and then the season starts. And we realize the greatest quarterback and the greatest athlete in American sports history will never be touching the field again. This is extremely hard to talk about because, like I said, I never grew up idolizing this man. I grew up just honestly hating and despising Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots and Tom Brady for their level of success and a lot of their scandals in the past, whether they're true or not. And looking back on it already, I don't necessarily regret any of that because that's who I was and that's how I perceived them and that's how I perceived Tom Brady and all of his success. But now I know that I'm never gonna watch the greatest quarterback of all time. It's hard to talk about. I never got to see him play in person. I never had the opportunity to actually go and watch and witness history and greatness and really truly appreciate it. And now it's the end of an era. That's exactly what this is. And the era of quarterbacks that I grew up in, I'm truly blessed to have watched some of the greatest in just this class of unbelievable quarterbacks, from Peyton Manning to Drew Brees to Phillip Rivers to Tom Brady to Ben Roethlisberger. The list goes on, and now I'm in a new era of amazing quarterbacks with Patrick Mahomes and Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and some of the most electrifying quarterbacks in the game. It's not the same. All of the guys I grew up watching and idolizing are all gone, and I didn't mention Eli Manning as well too. The game will never be the same without Tom Brady in it. And like I said, the reality is not really kicked in, but a quick story time, because now that I am 365 days removed from Tom Brady's first retirement, I remember exactly where I was in that moment when I opened up my phone and I saw on Twitter last year that Tom Brady was retiring. I was pulling up to UNF. I was gonna go there and work the basketball game that evening, and I pull into the parking garage. And as soon as I open my phone and I see that notification, all of the emotions just rushed to my body, and I just kind of felt my heart sink and drop, and I went like this because I couldn't believe that I had just spent 20 plus years of my life watching the greatest quarterback of all time and not appreciating him. And I sat in my car, and I don't even have any shame admitting it. I cried. I was choking up and I was tearing up in my car for a good 15, 20 minutes because all of those emotions just came to me, and I realized, damn, I took him for granted. And I took what he brought to the game of football and the competitive fire and the love I have for football. Even though I wasn't necessarily a big fan of him, it's everything that comes along with Tom Brady outside of him just an athlete, the man and the character that he is, the leader that he is, and everything that he embodies. I really took that for granted, and all of those emotions came rushing to me. And when he unretired 30, 40 days later, I was like, I'm not going to take him for granted anymore. And now that I know that he's officially gone from the game of football, this is just, it puts things back into its proper perspective. It's the same thing with a legend like Kobe Bryant. When he tragically passed away, him and his daughter Gianna, it put things back into its perspective. I never took Kobe Bryant necessarily for granted, but I didn't truly appreciate his level of greatness in idolizing and truly embodying what kind of character and mentality a character and an athlete like Kobe Bryant had on and off the court. Great family man, does charitable things in the community, and I know Tom Brady is a good person at heart. Kobe Bryant, the list goes on. I am not going to take advantage and take for granted the greatness that I'm witnessing when it comes to NFL players and NBA players, when especially my whole life is revolved around sports. 247, 365, my life, my YouTube channel, and just everything. Sports is my life, and I'm not taking these guys for granted. I'm not taking an opportunity to go see LeBron James and Steph Curry, two of the greatest to have ever played, and the game will never be the same without them. I get an opportunity to see them, I'm not passing up that opportunity. And like I said, this just kind of puts back into its proper perspective. Take every day and don't take it for granted. Make every day the best day, whether it has to do with sports or not. You never know when somebody's day is going to be their last day. Always try to put a smile on somebody's face, and I just can't say enough and honestly give gratitude and my thanks to Tom Brady for everything he did, for helping me love the game of football, helping me root against him. And like I said, it just puts things back into its proper perspective. I want to briefly talk about Tom Brady and his level of success that he had in the NFL in his career. He's first in passing yards all time, 89,214. He's first in passing touchdowns, 649. 5 Super Bowl MVPs, 7 Super Bowls, all are first, and GOAT, greatest athlete of all time, greatest competitor of all time, greatest anything you want to name. That is an understatement for the kind of character and man that Tom Brady is and the athlete that he is, and it really is just heartbreaking. It really is. It's hard to show these emotions. I wasn't expecting to get off work and to come here and talk about this, and I'm just not taking these athletes for granted anymore, man, especially the great ones. I know the game's never going to be the same, and it just really is heart-wrenching and gut-wrenching. And another thing I did want to say is that me being a diehard Jags fan, and now that we have a new era in Jacksonville with Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence, and I hope that they're the next Bill Belichick and Tom Brady for the future moving forward, but I'm never going to be able to see Trevor Lawrence, the next great generational quarterback prospect, go up against Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. Like that to me hurts my heart a little bit too. And yeah, there's not much else I can say about that. He played the hardest position in all of sports at the highest level, a resume that's probably never going to get touched. I don't care how talented a Patrick Mahomes is, an Aaron Rodgers is, a Joe Montana, a Peyton Manning, a Trevor Lawrence, the list goes on. Talent, Tom Brady was nowhere near the most talented quarterback to have ever played. There's plenty more talented quarterbacks out there with a more dynamic skill set, but the opportunity to win 7 Super Bowls, have 5 Super Bowl MVPs, and have the sustained level of success playing 23 years in the NFL, that is incredible. That is unheard of. That is almost certainly never going to happen again, even with the protected rules to help quarterbacks or any athlete. The longevity, the sustainability, and the high intensity of playing competitive fire that he displayed every single week, Sunday to Sunday, week in and week out, it goes without saying. And I just am truly grateful that I got to grow up in an era where I got to watch the greatest athlete of all time, the greatest American athlete and resume of all time. And I've come to terms with it. It's hard. It's definitely a tough pill to swallow, but just want to wish Tom nothing but success moving forward with the rest of his life after football, being a family man. I'm sure he's going to be broadcasting. He's going to have his life somehow involved in sports, somehow, some way. And just, I can't say it enough, man. Thank you so much for everything, Tom. Thank you.